might be a case for using some bright red as well. Hi everyone, I'm Gary Tucker and welcome to my channel. I present weekly demonstrations on painting with watercolor. Many of you have asked about how you can support this channel, take a workshop, or attend a class in person. I'll refer you to the description below. There you can find information on today's subject, ways to support the free content on this channel, and links to other resources. Thanks for watching. I'm going to put a little bit of this cad orange as well as a little touch of cad yellow for heightened effect in the warm tones. Also to help me mix a green later on. Cobalt blue. So red, white, and blue, and well, I guess the red would be in the burnt sienna mixture. Put my brush here, my sponge there, in case I need it. Sure I will. Put that over here. And I've got my drawing, as you can see, the verticals here. I'm thinking sort of an inverted steelyard, which is kind of anchored to the top of the pillar, top of the painting, and a major piece coming down here, minor piece here, kind of a view through here, which becomes a gravitational point, and strong shadow play on the trees. I did a sketch here earlier, which I'm going to show you as well. And I'm looking at that as a reference. And I'm going to start by just doing a lot of warm hues through the trees, and then come into that with some cooler hues in the sky. Even the sky has a nice warmth to it. I want to make sure I have a good sized brush. I'm going to start maybe with that very pale yellow ochre. Look at that, a lot of water. A lot of water. Very, very pale. This is our first real wash. I'm wondering if I even need a bigger brush. I think this will be okay. We'll start back here. Really pale for these sort of backlit trees. Then as we come down, we go down. Now we get a little darker through here. I'm going to build up this. Again, this is almost just water, but it's warm. Just a very pale, weak. See how that's flowing right down. I do have my palette on a vertical. Take a little bit of the paper towel here and just make an area for our blue. See how easy that is. I'm going to keep this kind of wet just by misting. And then I'm going to go into it with this blue hue, cobalt blue. Also a lot of water. painting these in-between marks. So I am thinking about a nice pattern. And this cool hue, this nice blue, will counter all of the rich, warm hues that follow, which I'm going to place now. I'm going to just keep extending, actually, the yellow ochre, which should move pretty easily because it's very wet. We're going to get a little orangier. Well, first let's carry some of this pale yellow ochre up. I say pale, but look, it's quite white rich. Surrounding that blue a little bit. Really creating that first vibration of beautiful color. Kind of melts into this area. As we come down, a little bit of that orange and cad yellow through here. Few left whites, but not many really. More interesting and more interested and thinking about the relationship of blue to yellow now. Blue to yellow. Either an inverted steelyard or a grouped mass is my compositional stem. A little more orange over here. Starting to allude to some of the shadow pattern, which I just love about this piece. Okay. Well, why not? Why don't we put some of this orange up here too? I'm building a painting based on harmonies, so it certainly won't hurt. And orange itself, this orange is an opaque color, but as an underpainting, perfectly fine. Let's stop it here. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is going to kind of mark some of the passages in this tree. Of course, I do have them with pencil, but there's some that I kind of consider more important. I guess that's what I'm sort of marking here. Just to help me in shaping the strokes that I use. Sort of helpful, but not not as much as I hoped. Anyway, I guess there's just one way to go about this. Big brush. And pretty thick paint. I'm going to be using a mixture of this brown and some cobalt blue to gray it. Neutral tint to darken it. First I'll start maybe with the lower section, get some of the shadow play up above happening. With this tree kind of. Okay, little smaller brush. Look at how thick this paint is, hardly traveling at all. Hard to really tell you what color I'm using. And now we kind of improvise. Put in some greenish hue over here, a bit of this cad yellow. Should be a little darker. We want to leave some gaps. Use a little more calligraphy. Kind of painting these marks based on how the previous marks have been created. So I'm following the template that was created by the first stages of this painting. And you notice I've gone right for my main center of interest here. I haven't painted background, so to speak. Bright hue. Background, maybe I guess we consider the first wash, but from there I went right to the main attraction, which I don't always do. I think I'm doing it here just to sort of jump right into the deep end. If I ever feel hesitation, it's often what I'll do is just throw caution to the wind and be on my way. Okay. Hard to see much at this stage, isn't it? Hard to believe in what we're doing, what I'm doing. That's okay. It's a sort of an experiment, an improvisation. Let's move now to the left side. Continue our tempo of strokes, meaning sort of this thrusting, parry, almost like fencing. But we're thinking about our subject, the essence of our subject. At least I'm trying to keep that in the front of my thoughts, is these branches and these smaller pieces. How are they best described? Let's remember that song by George Michael. You know what I'm talking about. Gotta have faith. Something's going to happen with all this chaos. Gotta have faith. We don't have to be photographic. We just have to imply, allude to, suggest is much more effective as a means of communication, because the reason it's more effective is because it allows the audience to complete the picture. And therefore they have a richer experience. Okay. This tree is kind of important. I don't want to mess it up. As soon as you say that, though, it's almost certain you're going to. Some very weak stuff back here. Then lots of fun play. Let's have some fun with brush strokes. Some dry brush, some fine linear marks. When I was a boy, I used to climb these trees. Not these in particular, but I climbed them because I was mad for whatever reason, punishing my parents. And so I'd climb way up, and these trees are perfect for climbing. If you had some in your neighborhood, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. We climb the trees, we sit up on the top branches and just wait for Mom and Dad to get a little anxious. Or we wait until stomach starts growling, which is more my case, I think. trying to create some feeling of dark overhead canopy. I think I need to throw some darker hues over this in a spotty fashion to suggest the dappled light. Just a little bit lighter than what I've been working on though. Hmm. Blend a little bit of that. It should be chaos up here with just a few highlights to pull us up. Largely darks though. A little more orangey red down here. Why not? Let's go darker still. Some of this pure. Just drawing dark back here. makes the light feel much more intense when we do that. Just adding a little dark onto the darker passages that we've already created. Check here. Not there either. I'm looking for a little card that I could scrape with. It's okay. That's some interest there. Just use a little nail. Some lights back there. More of that green. Blue. More calligraphy. Well, it's all kind of calligraphic, I guess, but Looking okay, I guess. Still feel it could be a little darker up above. This might be a good stage to let it dry, though. Definitely pretty fun, isn't it? Some of those knots, which are very ever present in this pine tree, in any pine tree. We're using a very strong dark to make it more visible. As long as we can keep creating darks, we should. We'll add the lights at the end. Some little lights. I have just the color for it. You guessed it. Jaune brilliant. Exactly that color. It'll feel like we're just painting with the same color, even though we're painting on top of it. Do I need any more through here? It's attractive through there, I feel. Let me have a look at my reference once more. Yeah, something would be good. Kind of connect. Left to right. Okay, I think I've gone as far as I can go in this one. We might put some splatter on the forest floor, signify the dry leaves. A little bit of orange. It's got to show up against this color, so it will make it a little darker. I think we need a little bluish hue to that too. and a lot more water. It's just not coming out. There. This might be a case for using some bright red as well. Of course, you could paint, go back and paint individual leaves. Some of them does make sense to make them a little darker, but having that random pattern helps a lot too. Look at that palette. Putting a few of these darks into the shadows makes the shadow look a little transparent. Okay, I think we'll let it dry. Well, let's put some, before we do that, we'll put some light marks with a skinny brush, so you can see how that jaune brilliant was planned for, and then is going to make this darker area just a little more lively with some light branches. Coming up here. We're almost using it straight out of the tube, so it's got a lot of opacity to it. The lights are helping carry this feeling of light upward in the painting. Helps to push back against the darks as well. Let's let it dry. Well, thank you for watching to the end. I hope you found this content interesting and inspiring. Have a look at the description below to find out more about this project, or click the banner up above to visit my webpage and learn about workshops and in-person classes, as well as other important resources.